I don't need to know it's the size of a cigarette, okay? Why'd you tell me?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Village of Bartlett Board meeting for March 4th, 2014. I call this meeting to order and ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Trustee Ahrens?
It's for you. You're here.
Your call.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm here. Camerer? Here. Carbonaro?
Here.
Martin?
Here.
Ranky?
Here.
Chipman?
Yes, here.
President Wallace?
Present. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next item on the agenda, on our major agenda, is the consent agenda. All items on the consent agenda listed with an asterisk are considered to be routine and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion on these items unless a board member so requests, in which event the item will be removed from the general order of business and considered at the appropriate point on the agenda.
I'd like to request F1 be added to the consent agenda.
Okay, Trustee Ahrens, under Public Works, is adding F1 Public Works minivan
Second.
vehicle. Motion to approve the amended consent agenda.
Yes.
Okay, it was moved by Trustee Ahrens and seconded by Trustee Martin to approve the amended consent agenda. Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Ahrens? Yes. Camerer?
Yes.
Carbonaro?
Yes.
Martin?
Yes.
Ranky?
Yes.
Shipman?
Yes.
Motion carries. I'll entertain a motion to approve the amended consent agenda.
Second.
Moved by Trustee Camerer, seconded by Trustee Martin. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Ahrens? Abstain. Camerer?
Yes.
Carbonaro?
Yes.
Martin?
Yes.
Ranky?
Yes.
Shipman?
Yes.
Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is the minutes that need to be approved from February 18th, 2014. At this point, I entertain a motion to approve the board and committee minutes from February 18th, 2014.
So moved.
Second.
It's moved by Trustee Shipman, seconded by Trustee Martin. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Ahrens? Abstain. Camerer?
Yes.
Carbonaro?
Yes.
Martin?
Yes.
Ranky?
Yes.
Shipman?
Yes.
Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is the treasurer's report. Seeing none, we'll move on to the president's report. Seeing none, we'll move on to questions and answers. Is there any questions and answers for the board at this time?
Do we have any salt left?
Yes, we do. We have good amounts still left. We have picked up some, we received some from the state last week, and also again this week. So we're moving right along.
And price has gone up, or are they constant?
No, the prices that we're still paying is from the state contract, always the same price for all the salt that we purchased.
Safe to say we're not going to have to use any more?
I would hope, but with this weather, you never know.
You have my permission not to salt my street, even if it sleets.
Thank you.
Maybe we could mark the price up and sell it to some other cities.
Yeah, I thought I saw Palatine was looking for some on. Any other questions for from the board at this point? Hearing none, we'll move on to the next item on the agenda is the town hall portion of the meeting. This is part of the meeting where you can address any items you'd like to the board. If you wish to address any items to the board, please step up to the podium, state your name and address for the record. Is there anybody who would like to address the board at this time? Seeing none, we'll move on to standing committee reports, which will be the fastest standing committee reports this year. First item on the standing committee reports is Planning and Zoning Committee CAMERER.
Thank you, Mr. President. All my points under planning and zoning were handled under the consent agenda.
Thank you, Trustee CAMERER. Next item on standing committee reports is Building Committee Chairman Martin.
I have no report this evening. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Chairman Martin. Next item on the agenda is under Finance and Golf Committee, Chairman Ranky.
Thank you, Mr. President. No report this evening.
Thank you, Chairman Ranky. Next item on the agenda is License and Ordinance Committee, Chairman Carbonaro.
Thank you, Mr. President. Nothing to report this evening.
Thank you, Chairman Carbonaro. Next item on the agenda is under Police and Health Committee, Chairman Shipman.
Nothing to report tonight, Your Honor.
Thank you, Chairman Shipman. Next item on the agenda is Public Works Committee, Chairman Ahrens.
Thank you, Mr. President. Our only agenda item is covered under the consent agenda.
Thank you, Chairman Aaron's. Next item on the agenda is new business. At this point, does anybody have any new business for the good of the order?
I would like to request that we add some language to our tree removal program that includes the removal of diseased trees on private property, something stating that the owner of that private property is responsible for removing the diseased or dead tree, which we did not address in our original plan.
Once again, I mean, you're requesting that the owners, at their own expense, remove the trees. Is that right?
What?
You're requesting that the owners, at their own expense, remove the diseased trees from their property? Is that what you're saying?
Right. We did not address a situation where an owner may have any number of 1 to 5 trees on his property and does not remove them, which causes a concern for public safety, actually. And we need something so that we can ask those individuals to do something about it.
Well, if that would be the case, then, Paul, is there any opportunity or any possibility that we could be talking with the tree companies that we've contracted with and trying to negotiate a fair price for the residents on their own tree removal, somewhat similar to what the village has from the tree companies, so that the actual residents would get a fair deal as well? Is that possible?
With future bidding projects, we could put something into that, but you come into a collection situation. It's very, very difficult for the government body hiring a contractor for a private residential. We might put something in there that we can advertise or publicize who our contractor is. The residents could turn around and make contact. Feel free to make contact. But adding a price in there for that would cover the residents for that cost, I believe, and we'll ask our attorney, but I believe that would be very difficult from our standpoint.
So it would be difficult to lock them in. The private property owners could negotiate a private contract with that same contractor, but there's different insurance issues and different size, in the right-of-way, it's kind of limited in space and what might be around it, whereas on a lot, it would almost have to be negotiated by the contractor on a tree-by-tree basis based on size and what else is around it getting back there. So it would be kind of hard to lock them in.
But if a company knew that
Right.
we were adding this to our ordinance and decided to send out flyers saying,
Right.
hey, special deal, nothing wrong with that.
I think they could. I think there's nothing that precludes them from entering separate contracts with that contractor. And if they've got their equipment right there,
Right.
It's probably not a huge deal if they enter a separate contract and you've got the chipper out in the street to go back and, but it might slow up our process of removing our trees up and down the street. But, if they're in a neighborhood, they may be willing to do that.
Because the average cost to the village was about $400 a tree, wasn't it?
It was ranked by diameter size. Some of them did increase up to $1,200 per tree.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, all I was asking for was to bring some kind of amendment to that ordinance that we could look at and discuss further.
Yeah.
Okay? If everybody's agreeable to that?
I think that's a good idea. I think it would have to include some verbiage based on who makes the determination, whether it's at what stage do we say this has to be taken down.
Right.
That's the tricky part of that, and I'm sure that you guys can find other ordinances around for public safety that'll outline the determination. Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other new business at this time? Hearing none, we'll move on to the final question and answer opportunity of the evening. Does anybody on the board have any additional questions for staff? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Trustee Aaron, seconded by Trustee Camerer. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Ahrens?
Yes.
Camerer?
Yes.
Carbonaro?
Yes.
Martin?
Yes.
Ranky?
Yes.
Chipman?
Yes.
If you want.
We're adjourned.